Jace Rowan was just an average human mechanic working on a space station called Zeta-9, floating far from Earth. He loved tools, engines, and quiet nights. He didn't care for alien politics or cultural laws. He just wanted peace. But peace was about to end. It all began when his bunkmate got transferred and Jace was told he had to share living quarters with a new alien arrival, a tall, graceful woman from the planet Virelia. Her name was Veyria, and she had deep violet skin, silver eyes, and a voice like wind chimes. The first time Jace saw her, she nodded politely and said, "I accept the bond of cohabitation, human." Jace blinked. Yeah, sure. Let's just not make a mess." He signed the living contract the station provided, pages of long alien text he didn't bother to read. Big mistake. Days passed, and Jace noticed something strange. Veyria cooked meals for him. She cleaned his side of the room. She always waited for him to return before sleeping. At first, he thought she was just being nice. But then one night, after a long repair job, he came in to find candles lit, real candles, and Veyria wearing soft ceremonial robes. "Tonight is the night of joining," she said softly. "You do accept me, yes?" Jace scratched his head. "Joining? Like, what? A party?" Her eyes sparkled. "A sacred bond. Soul and body. You agreed already." Still confused and a little tired, Jace nodded without thinking. And so that night they shared something intimate, something beautiful, but something deeply misunderstood. The next morning, Jace woke up smiling, until he saw Veyria watching, her eyes shining with emotion. "You are my mate now," she said, placing her hand over his chest. Jace froze. "Wait, mate? As in married?" She tilted her head. "You signed the cohabitation agreement, completed the ritual joining, and stayed the night. That is legal bonding on Virelia. You are mine, and I am yours." His smile disappeared. Panic set in. Whoa. I thought we were just living together. I didn't know I was signing a marriage contract." Her face fell. "You didn't read the agreement?" "Of course not. It was like 20 pages long in alien symbols." Veyria looked hurt. Her hands dropped to her sides. "You bonded with me without knowing the meaning." Jace stood up quickly. "Look, you're great. I mean, last night was amazing, but I'm not ready for this. I'm not even looking for a relationship." Then, without thinking, he stepped back, out of the glow of her aura. That's when her body shuddered. She gasped like someone had struck her. A soft hum in the air snapped like breaking glass. He ran to her. "Veyria, what's happening?" She whispered, trembling. "You pulled away. That's illegal where I come from. To bond, then pull out of the aura field. It's considered emotional abandonment. A crime." Jace's face turned white. "What? A crime?" "I didn't mean anything bad. I just didn't understand." Before he could finish, a soft beep came from the wall. A glowing blue circle appeared. A holographic summons. "Jace Rowan," a mechanical voice said. "You are hereby ordered to appear before the cohabitation court of Virelia in 24 hours. Refusal will result in arrest." He stared at the light in disbelief. Veyria turned away, her voice breaking. "You should have read the agreement, human." That night, Jace sat alone in the corner of the shared room. He looked at her back, tall, proud, still, but clearly hurt. He didn't know what was worse, the court summons, or the look in her eyes. He thought they had just shared a night, but to her it had meant something sacred. He realized then, this wasn't just about rules. This was about her heart. And he had broken it, without even meaning to. Jace stood outside the glowing doors of the Virelian court, wearing his old mechanic's jacket. His hands were sweaty. His heart beat like a drum. Around him, tall alien buildings curved upward into the clouds, their surfaces glowing with silver light. He muttered to himself, "All this because I pulled away? This can't be real." But it was very real. 2 armored guards stood by the gate. They were silent, but their eyes followed his every step. As Jace tried to walk past, they crossed their weapons. "State your name and violation," one guard said. Jace swallowed. Jace Rowan, human mechanic. I apparently abandoned bond aura. I didn't know that was a law." The guard pressed a button and a golden light scanned over him. "Confirmed, you may proceed. The High Matriarch is expecting you." That didn't sound comforting at all. Inside the court chamber, everything was quiet. No buzzing machines, no tapping fingers. Just watchful silence. Rhea stood in the center, dressed in dark ceremonial robes. She looked calm, but her hands were shaking. When Jace entered, her eyes met his, and then quickly looked away. A tall alien woman with glowing red eyes stepped forward. Her robe was lined with medals and symbols. She was the High Matriarch. "You are Jace Rowan," she said slowly, voice echoing. "You accepted a bond agreement with one of our own, Rhea of House Raal." "I didn't know it meant marriage," Jace replied, stepping forward. "I thought it was just roommates." Quiet gasp passed through the court. The matriarch raised her hand. "Ignorance is not defense, human. The contract is clear in our language. Bonding is sacred. Once aura is shared, hearts are tied. And if one pulls away..." She glanced at Rhea, who lowered her eyes. "Then suffering follows." Jace shifted uncomfortably. "I didn't mean to hurt her, I swear. Where I come from, things are different. We don't have aura bonds or mating rules in fine print. We talk. We ask." The matriarch narrowed her eyes. "Did you ask her before touching her soul?" Jace's face turned red. "No, I didn't even know I was doing that." Rhea finally spoke. "He didn't force me. I offered. I thought he understood. He didn't." Her voice cracked slightly. "I thought he was different." Jace looked at her. "I am different, Rhea. I just didn't know your world's meaning of all this." She didn't answer. The matriarch raised a glowing orb in her hand. "There are two choices, human. 1. Return to your world. The bond is broken, and you will be labeled a deserter of hearts across our systems. You will never be welcomed again." Jace flinched. "And 2, the orb brightened. 2, you stay, and prove your loyalty to her, through our customs, through our trials, and if she forgives you, the bond shall be restored." Jace looked around the chamber. Every alien stared, waiting. He turned toward Rhea. "I'll do it, I'll stay." She blinked in surprise. "You will?" she whispered. "I messed up, but I want to fix it. Even if I don't fully understand your world, I want to try." The matriarch nodded. "So it shall begin. The trial of remembrance. 7 acts. 7 days. You will not leave her side. You will learn what it means to be bonded, not just by touch, but by soul." Jace looked at Rhea. She nodded slowly, her voice soft. "Then let it begin." The chamber echoed with the sound of the judgment bell. That night, Jace sat with Rhea in a small chamber assigned to them. The air was warm, silent. He looked at her, finally breaking the stillness. "Why didn't you tell me what it really meant?" She stared at the floor. "I thought you knew. You looked into my eyes. You didn't pull away. Until you did. I didn't mean to hurt you. You did anyway." He sighed. "Then let me fix it." She looked up, unsure, but something in his voice sounded real. "First lesson," she said, holding out her hand. "Learn the language of bond aura. Without it, you'll never understand my heart." Jace took her hand. "I'm ready." Jace had never felt this strange in his life. He had been to alien bars, fought rusted drones in asteroid storms, and once even patched a plasma leak with his shirt. But nothing prepared him for being claimed. The next morning after his court trial, Rhea placed a thin silver band around his neck. It was not tight, but it glowed with heat the moment it touched his skin. "What is this?" he asked. "A signal," she said softly. "It tells others you belong to me." Jace blinked. Wait, like property? Not property, she corrected. Belonging. In our culture, it's an honor. To be chosen, to be trusted, to be protected by someone who shares their aura. He touched the band again. It pulsed with a slow rhythm. Her rhythm. So now everyone knows I'm yours? She nodded once. Even if you run, they'll know. The first trial began in the Garden of Bonds, a large circle of glowing plants, where couples meditated in silence. Jace was told to sit facing Veyria, knee to knee, and say nothing. For 1 hour he had to keep eye contact. No words, no laughter, just breathing. Is this a test? He whispered. She gave him a look. Yes, and you're already failing. He shut up. At first it was awkward. Jace looked everywhere but her eyes. But slowly, as the minutes passed, something changed. He began to see her. Not just her beauty, but her pain. The faint sadness in her gaze. The way her lips barely moved unless she was sure of his presence. She had trusted him too fast. She had given everything, and he had pulled away. I'm sorry, he mouthed silently. She blinked, and a tear ran down her cheek, but she didn't look away. After the meditation, they walked back to their chamber. Jace couldn't stop thinking about how much weight she carried behind those silver eyes. Suddenly, Veyria stopped. Do you know what it means when a Varelian shares aura? I think I'm learning, he replied. No, she said. Let me tell you. She stepped closer, placing her hand over his heart. It means we tie ourselves to your spirit. We feel what you feel. When you are happy, we shine. When you are distant, we ache. When you pull out, we feel shattered. Jace clenched his jaw. I didn't know. I know you didn't, she said gently. But the bond still broke. Later, at dinner in the shared courtyard, other Varelians whispered as Jace walked past. Some looked with pity, others with judgment. One alien female sneered. That's the human who hurt Veyria. He ran. Another scoffed. He wears the bond collar but doesn't deserve it. Jace kept his head low. Back in the chamber, he asked her, Why did you stand for me in court? Why not just let them banish me? Veyria was silent for a moment, then she said, Because I felt your fear. He looked up. That night, when you left the aura, I was hurt. Yes. But deep in that pain, I also felt something else. You weren't being cruel, you were confused, scared, and guilt tore at you. She walked closer. And that's why I didn't ask for punishment, I asked for understanding. Jace didn't know what to say, so he just nodded and whispered, Thank you. That night, he sat outside on the balcony watching the stars. For the first time, he didn't feel like a visitor in this alien world. He felt like someone who had been given a chance. Suddenly, Veyria stepped beside him and said, Tomorrow is the second trial. You'll meet my sister. Is she friendly? Veyria raised an eyebrow. She wanted to crush your bones last week. Jace gulped, but she's calmer now. Great, he said. Can't wait. She smiled, just slightly, and that tiny smile made Jace's heart ache again. He wasn't just here to fix his mistake anymore. He wanted to fix her trust in him. Maybe being claimed wasn't the worst thing. The next morning, Jace stood in front of a high archway carved from glowing black stone. Veyria stood beside him, in her formal robe holding a small blue crystal. She's behind this door, she said quietly. Your sister? Jace asked, adjusting the silver band around his neck. Veyria nodded. Her name is Sirala. She is my bloodkin, my protector, and the guardian of the Varelian bond. No one is allowed to stay with me unless they pass her judgment. So, she decides if I'm worthy of you? Yes. And she knows you broke my aura once. Jace sighed. This is going to be hard, huh? She nearly burned your name from our family records. Right. Definitely hard. The door opened with a low hum. Inside was a circular chamber lit by floating blue lights. In the center stood a tall alien woman, similar to Veyria, but with sharper eyes and heavier armor across her shoulders. She didn't speak at first. She just stared at Jace. "So," Cirilla said coldly, "this is the human who fled." Jace opened his mouth to reply, but Veyria stepped forward first. He didn't understand. "He didn't try to understand," Cirilla snapped, then her eyes locked onto Jace. "You touched her soul, shared her warmth, then walked away." "I didn't mean to hurt her," Jace said. "I didn't know what the bond really was." Cirilla walked closer. "That's no excuse. Would you walk into fire just because you didn't know it burned?" "No," Jace answered. "Yet you touched her fire." Without warning, Cirilla raised her hand, and a glowing thread of light shot out, wrapping around Jace's wrist. He gasped, feeling a rush of heat and cold at the same time. "This is the trial of empathic balance," Cirilla said. "For the next hour, whatever she feels, you will feel." Veyria looked alarmed. "Sister, he's not trained. He must know the weight of what he broke." Jace nodded, jaw clenched. "I accept." The thread glowed brighter. At first it felt simple, a faint breeze of warmth, the smell of flowers, the soft rhythm of Veyria's heartbeat. But then, sudden cold, a stab of sadness, a sharp loneliness that made Jace stagger. He saw flashes, memories from her side, sitting in silence after he left the aura, crying alone, hand on her chest, listening to the whispers of her people, calling her abandoned. Each emotion stabbed through Jace like a knife. He fell to his knees. "I didn't know she hurt this much," he whispered. Cirilla's voice was quiet now. "She never told you, because she didn't want to make you feel guilty. But now, you feel it anyway." The trial ended with the thread fading into dust. Jace stood up, shaking. He turned to Veyria. "I'm sorry, not just for pulling away, but for not seeing your pain." She looked at him with wet eyes. "You see it now." Cirilla crossed her arms. "Words are easy. Will you stay with her when she wakes in fear? When she questions your love? When the aura flickers again?" Jace walked toward her. "I'll stay through all of it, even if it takes a lifetime to make her trust me again." A long silence followed. Then, Cirilla nodded. "Then I will not stop you." Outside the chamber, as they walked side by side, Veyria broke the silence. "You felt everything I hid." Jace nodded. "And I'll never forget it. I was scared to let you back in. I was scared I didn't deserve to be." She stopped walking and looked at him. "Maybe we're both still scared." He gently reached out and took her hand. This time he didn't let go. "That's okay," he said. "We'll face the fear together." She smiled. It wasn't wide. It wasn't loud, but it was real. The flames danced in a perfect circle. Jace stood at the edge of the sacred arena, barefoot, wearing a simple white robe. The fire didn't burn the floor, it floated above it, held by invisible energy. In the center of the circle stood Veyria, dressed in a red cloak that shimmered like liquid gold. She held a single glowing flame in her hand. "This is the ritual of fire and promise," she said softly. He stared at the fire in her palm. "Let me guess, it's not just for warmth." Veyria nodded. "No, it's a bond test. You must speak your promise and walk through the fire to reach me." "That's it?" he asked, half nervous. Her eyes held his. "If you lie, the fire will know." Jace swallowed hard. "Ah, so it is magic truth flames." She gave a faint smile. "In your words, yes." Veyria stepped back into the center of the ring and raised the flame high. The circle of fire around her grew taller. Jace felt the heat now, not from the flame, but from the weight of the moment. The crowd had gathered outside the arena. Silent Varelians, old and young, all watching, waiting, to see if the human would truly commit. Jace's heart beat faster. He thought of running again, but this time, he didn't. He stepped forward. I make my promise, he said, voice clear. I promise I will not run when things feel strange. I will ask, I will learn, and I will listen. The fire shimmered, but didn't flare. I promise I will protect Veyria, not just her body but her spirit, her hope, her trust. The flames crackled softly. Still no heat touched him. I promise. To love her with my actions, not just words. Then without stopping, Jace walked straight through the fire. The moment his foot crossed into the ring, the flames turned a soft gold and parted for him. He didn't feel a thing. He walked to her, placed his hand over hers and whispered, I'm not here because I have to be. I'm here because I choose to be. The flames lowered. The crowd gasped. Some even clapped. Veyria's hand trembled as she passed him the glowing flame. Then it is your turn. Seal it with your own aura. Jace blinked. I don't know how to do that. Close your eyes, she said, and think of only me. Let your truth rise. He did. He closed his eyes and thought of her laugh when they first met, her voice when she explained the stars, her silence when she was hurt, her tears, her strength, her hand always reaching, even when his pulled away. The flame flickered and then turned blue. Soft, peaceful, honest. When he opened his eyes, she was smiling, not unsure this time, but full, certain. Outside the arena, Sihrala stood watching. She turned to the High Matriarch. He passed. The Matriarch gave a slow nod. He did more than pass. He transformed. That night, Jace and Veyria sat by the balcony again. No fire now, just stars. You changed today, she said. I finally understood what it means to promise something. She looked at him. And what does it mean? To stay, even when you're afraid. She leaned her head on his shoulder. For the first time, there was no bond heat, no aura pressure, no judgment, only peace. The golden flame still burned in Jace's memory. But peace didn't last long. The next morning, a royal guard entered their room with a steel scroll in hand. His voice was sharp and cold. By the ancient law of Virelia, the bond must be sealed through oath of soul-sharing. It is not complete until it is recorded in the circle of memory. Jace frowned. I thought I passed all the trials. Veyria stood up, alarmed. No one told me this law would be invoked so soon. The guard bowed stiffly. The council has made their decision. The oath must be spoken before the 3 witnesses, tonight. Jace turned to Veyria. What does that mean? She looked away. It means if you say the wrong words, they'll erase the bond, they'll erase us. That evening, the hall of the 3 witnesses was silent. Tall black walls surrounded them. 3 glowing beings stood at the far end, their faces hidden beneath hooded robes. They were not living creatures, not anymore. They were memory holders. They recorded every oath, every soul promise, every truth and betrayal. One of them spoke, voice like wind across broken glass. Do you, human, offer your soul for binding? Jace felt his voice catch. This wasn't just about love, it was about trust, about choosing her again and again, even if she cried, even if she fell silent, even if she pushed him away in fear. He stepped forward. I do. A glowing ribbon floated. Down from the ceiling, wrapping around his wrist and hers, the witness asked again, do you recognize this being as your equal, your partner, your soul's chosen? Jace looked at Veyria. She wasn't a queen in this moment. She wasn't a powerful alien. She was a woman who had waited, silently, painfully, hopefully. I do, he said. I see her. All of her. The ribbon pulsed once. Then the 3rd witness asked, do you swear, even if the stars fall, even if your body breaks, you will not abandon what you have claimed? Jace's voice did not shake now. I swear. The light ribbon turned white. Veyria placed her hand over his. Her voice was calm but full of emotion. I speak as Veyria of Virelia, I once opened my aura to a man I did not understand. I was wounded. But today I open it again, not because I trust blindly, but because I choose him. I claim him, and I vow never to turn away, even if he fears, even if he falls. The ribbon vanished. The bond was sealed, not by force but by will. Outside the chamber, Siharala waited. She nodded once as they stepped out. "You are now bound by Varelian law," she said. Jace raised an eyebrow. "So I'm a citizen now?" She smirked. "No, you're something rarer, family." Veyria gently squeezed his hand. "And no law can ever break that now." That night they didn't speak much. They didn't need to. They sat under the stars, hearts still echoing from the vow. It wasn't fire that kept them close now. It was understanding, and that was stronger than any flame. The planet Varelia slept under a silver sky. But in the quiet corner of the royal garden, two figures sat beneath glowing trees. One human, one alien, bound not by chains, but by choice. Jace held Veyria's hand. No trials tonight. No rituals. No laws. Just silence. Just peace. "You know," he said softly, "when I first landed on this planet, I thought I wouldn't last a day." She tilted her head. "Because of our customs?" "No," he chuckled. "Because I thought everything here wanted to kill me." Veyria smiled. "Some of us did." "Yeah, I noticed." The gentle glow of the trees reflected in her eyes. "You were a stranger," she whispered, "but something in you felt familiar, even before the bond." Jace nodded. "Like a thread already tied between us. I just didn't see it." They both looked up at the sky. Stars blinked like tiny souls watching from far away. "I used to think Earth was my only home," Jace said. "Now, I think home isn't a place." She leaned closer. "Then what is it?" He wrapped his arm around her shoulders. "It's where someone waits for you, where someone believes in you, where you can rest." Her voice was quiet. "Then, I want to be your home too." Later that night, Veyria brought out a small carved box. Inside was a smooth black stone with silver markings. "This was my father's," she said. "He gave it to my mother when they bonded. It's passed only to those who become part of our bloodline." Jace hesitated. "Are you sure?" She gently placed it in his hand. "You're already part of me. This just makes it visible to the stars." The next morning they walked together through the capital. Whispers followed them, but not of judgment anymore. "Is that the human? Did you see?" He passed the fire promise. "They say he touched the soul thread without burning." Children pointed. Elders nodded. One young alien girl ran up, eyes wide. "Are you really her chosen?" Jace knelt and smiled. "Yes, and I chose her too," the girl gasped. "Then you must be brave." He looked up at Veyria, who gave him a knowing look. "I'm learning," he said. "Every day." Back at their home, Veyria turned to him with a playful grin. "So, human, what now?" Jace stretched his arms. "Now, I fix that broken heater in the kitchen. Then maybe we visit the Western Falls. You said they glow at night?" She laughed. "They do. And it's beautiful. I want to see every part of this world," he said. "With you. Even the dangerous parts?" He leaned in and kissed her forehead. "Especially the dangerous parts if you're beside me." And so under alien skies and among stars he never knew he'd understand, Jace found something he never expected. Not a throne, not glory, not even safety. He found home, in the heart of the woman once feared as a vampire queen. And she found what no law or fire could give her, a love that chose her again and again, even when it didn't have to.